Welcome to Seas of Change's next episode of OceanViews. We are so excited to welcome our next guests, Michelle and Jeremy. Michelle and Jeremy, would you please just introduce yourselves and tell us just a bit about what you guys do?
Sure thing. Hey everyone, my name is Michelle Muchelwa. I'm 16 years old and I'm an ocean hero from Kisumu, Kenya. And I founded Bring Back Lake Victoria with my brother. Our campaign's vision is to restore Lake Victoria to its pristine condition, and our mission is to eradicate plastic pollution in the lake.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy Mochawa and I'm 14-year-old ocean hero from Kisumu, Kenya, and I am the co-founder of Bring Back Lake Victoria.
Amazing, nice to meet you guys. My name is Mel, so I didn't introduce myself before. You guys are in high school, right?
Yeah, I'm in my final year of high school.
Awesome. So how do you guys balance doing, conservation work in high school?
I have to admit, like it gets really crazy, especially this year. I remember that when we were sort of joining Ocean Heroes virtual meetings last year, we had school and university mentioned a lot, and a lot of the tips we got are like sometimes you just have to prioritize. And last year, because you weren't really at school, I couldn't really relate to that struggle of juggling like school and a project and stuff. But now this year, I've sort of learned what it's like, and I'll admit that that advice actually really helped. Like just sort of learning to prioritize and setting deadlines. What's due today? What's due in the next week? And what can I skip out on doing? And what do I really have to get done now? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I'm also in my final year of high school, so I totally understand what you're saying. It is such a busy life. You wouldn't expect it. Sometimes it's nice because, learning about your environment is very important to be able to save it, right? So learning, I guess it kind of ties in sometimes, but sometimes, as you said, it's such a busy schedule. But yeah, as you said, just need to prioritize. So I agree. How did you guys first get started in environmental activism or start your organization?
We first got started in about June 2020 because when schools closed, we requested our mom if rather than going along with online learning and conventional schooling, if we could take some time to explore, because this was the first time such a thing was happening in our lifetimes. So she allowed and she gave us some bundles. And after that, we just started browsing. Michelle immediately got started in things like TED, Brilliant. While for me, I decided to go more with computing and such. So I was learning coding, I was learning about electronics and all. And eventually, Michelle stumbled upon the Ocean Heroes Bootcamp and she told me about it. And at first, we were both skeptical because we weren't sure we'd fit in, because we're looking for people who are passionate about the ocean and everything. But eventually, we decided we just sign up and check it out and see how it would go. And it's one of the best decisions we've made because we got so much out of it. Because we got to meet so many people, and for the first time, it empowered us because we felt like we could actually do something. Because the first time we actually experienced plastic pollution was in December 2018 when we were running to the beach with our cousins playing games. And then we just came across it. The lake shore was covered in plastic, all types you could imagine. Every step was the crunch of a bottle. And at that time, we sort of felt helpless. So we just took pictures and showed our parents and continued on, because we felt like we could do nothing, and we thought that all the activists and everything, you had to grow up, finish college, and all those stuff. But at Ocean Heroes, we learned that you don't, and you can solve a problem at any age, and all you have to do is be passionate about it.
I love that, and I agree. Seeing everyone at Ocean's Bootcamp, I remember I think I met you guys. We went to the same session once, but seeing everyone of different ages and different places, really inspires you, because it makes, being a young person, it seems so helpless. You're like, well, what can I do? I don't even have a degree. Adults might actually not recognize what I'm doing, but Ocean Heroes Bootcamp really does show you that everyone can get started. So that's so amazing and so inspiring. Kind of on that topic, is there anything or anyone that particularly inspires you?
In terms of anyone, I'd say like the Gen Z environmental movement actually really inspires me, because it's so cool to see like a whole generation actually standing up and saying that we are not going to let the system that we have now stand right now stand. We're actually going to do better. And it's really impressive because you're seeing like young people, 16-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 19-year-olds, like acquiring all these skills just so that they can run their own organizations. And like when, of course, like when you look at them, they don't think anything about it, but we see them and we're just like, oh my gosh, you're doing an amazing job. I mean, people are taking up roles like marketing officer, video editing and stuff. And, you know, people are writing research papers and doing their own studies and building apps. And I think that's just so cool. So that's definitely something that inspires me, just how like we have a whole generation that has gotten up and said like, we want to do better and we're going to make sure that happens, and we're going to make sure it happens now, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I agree. I think it is so inspiring as well. Just, you know, it really is a teamwork kind of effort. It's a collaborative effort with everyone doing their own part. And then in the end, we're creating such monumental change. And I also, there is so much pressure placed on Gen Z because it's like everything kind of falls back on us, right? In the end, we're the generation that's going to experience everything, you know, climate change or all that. So it kind of, we do have to take a stand because it is going to affect us. So I agree. On to the next question.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any upcoming or current projects that you'd like to share with us?
The current upcoming project that we're working on most is our app Wasafi, and the reason we started working on it is because when we first started out the campaign, we planned on working on a recycling center in our community because we thought the only problem or the most prominent problem was lack of proper waste management. But when we went to visit government organizations, they told us it's possible to do it, but the first thing you need is data. So we ended up on a wild goose chase trying to find data, and we just couldn't find it. And we eventually came across Chemfree, where we met the Chemfree Lake Debris Volunteer Program, where they basically do beach cleanups and collect data. So they invited us to one of their cleanups, and we ended up doing about 10 cleanups with them. And what we realized was the way that the data was being collected was sort of tiring, and it wasn't really efficient because what they do is they put it on papers, and the problem is sometimes you'd have papers getting lost. It was slow, so you'd end up collecting for an hour and you're looking at data for another 2 to 3 hours. So eventually we decided it would be best to create an app suited to Lake Victoria's needs, because what we understand is there are apps out there, but they are more catered to the Western nation. So we decided it would be best to create one that's suited to here with all our brands, with the types of plastic we use to make it easier to collect data. And we also wanted it to be simple for example, you have someone walking home one day, they see a piece of plastic, so they can record it. And it also helps out in the sense that everyone is going to be able to collect data. So it's not only going to be restricted to cleanup, it's going to involve normal people in it. So basically that is the upcoming project we're working on, and we hope to release it soon so that we can start working on data, which will hopefully also help other people who are interested in starting campaigns in Kenya.
Yeah, and the app is called Ziwasafi, and it means clean lake. And another project that, yeah, it means clean lake in Kiswahili. And another project that we are working on is where we want to build a community hub within Kisumu to sort of allow people to reconnect to Lake Victoria and then empower them to find solutions. Because we realize that one of the major issues surrounding the lake is that there's sort of a generational gap where you have generation you have generation Y and Z not being really connected to the lake because of factors like people beginning to view it as a government-owned resource and stuff. So to get people to actually want to take action to save it, you have to create the connection that will make them realize this is my resource, this is my responsibility, this is what takes care of me. So if I don't protect it, I'm going to get in trouble. And then once you do that, you also have to empower them and tell them like, okay, so the lake is in trouble, but there's stuff you can do about it. Like you can actually take action to save it, whether it's through policy or through behavior. So we want to sort of condense this into a community hub where anyone from around Kisumu or from like basically around the counties that sit on the shores of the lake can come and visit to learn more and then learn how to take action. So like, yeah, that's one of the things that's another thing that we're working on right now.
I love that. And I love how you guys are pairing educational and awareness with solutions, because sometimes I feel like we can fall into a trap of telling everyone the facts, but then not giving a solution. Like, how do I fix it? I know that climate change is a thing, but then how do I actually overcome it? And, you know, there's a thing called eco anxiety. We learned about it, where you are just worried about the future and what it holds, but not being able to solve it is part of that anxiety. So I love how you guys are creating projects that actually give people solution and empower them to create their own solution. So I love that, and so inspiring.